He is an excellent academician, prominent speaker at various national and state conferences of Indian Psychiatric Society, and an examiner with NBE for the DNB course in various universities. He has a lot of national and international publications to his credit and has received various accolades for his contribution to psychiatry, especially in the field of psychodynamics and mood disorders. With great pride, I invite you, sir. And I now request the chairs to please take over.
First of all, we thank the organizers for giving us, permitting us to chair this session. Basically, we have two classificatory systems. One is the international classification, ICD, International Classification of Diseases by WHO, and another by American Psychiatric Association, known as DSM. And the current version of DSM is DSM-5, and the previous version of DSM-5 came in 1994. And now we are waiting for ICD-10 has come in, is there for nearly 25 years, for more than 3 decades, around 3 decades. And now we are waiting for ICD-11 to come. And there are many differences between DSM and ICD. And basically, DSM is more of a theoretical, it has a scientific vigor. But ICD is applicable to globally to all countries, is cross-culturally adopted, and also the stringent, sometimes concrete theoretical stance of DSM is probably ICD departs. Here we have a champion, because I think Dr. Anil Prabhakaran sir is probably the most vehement proponent of DSM, because in almost all institutes ICDM is the rule, ICD is the rule, but probably for Anil Prabhakaran sir DSM is the Bible, and he advocates it. Now we can hear from him whether ICD-11 agrees to him or not. Over to you, sir.
Thank you for the nice words. I don't know whether it's a criticism or appreciation. And at the very outset, let me thank, am I audible and clear at the back of the audience? At the very outset, let me thank the organizers of this conference, and that too for the first time in Kudiravattam. And almost a century, a decade of experience in this institute. It gives me a lot of nostalgia. Well, Vidhukumar has said almost everything. Nothing for me to say about ICD and DSM. ICD-11, it's because it comes more frequently. Last week we had an exam, MD exam, and the examiner was surprised, and all these students are telling about DSM-5 criteria and all. He was surprised and asked me very secretly, are you following DSM-5? As if DSM-5 is alien to, well, it is important for research and academics. ICD-11. First of all, why do we want to classify? That's it. It reduces the cognitive dissonance. If it's all spread, in chaos, probably our brain will be heated up. And make information processing easier and all the more life more comfortable, we need classification. Likewise, the plants everywhere were chaos. Some people classify it as in 125 words, some people put 16 words, and all these things had same plant got classified in different way, and it was this man who made a binomial classification. We need only the genus and the species to identify a plant. Classification was made simple, is considered as the father of taxonomy. So classifications can be categorical or dimensional. Well, more than 8 lakhs candidates appeared and each wrote 10 subjects. The result came. Failed or passed. Distinction, first class, second class, third class, and we included in the last class failed. This is called a categorical approach. We put a name. It's a nominal approach or categorical approach. They are very familiar, easy to understand and useful for treatment. It's more acceptable. Well, he is having a cancer, he is having paranoid schizophrenia, he is only having an adjustment disorder, throws a lot of information in a shorthand notation. And all these 8 lakhs students having all these subjects, 12 subjects, very difficult to comprehend, no? But that gives more. One person might have failed but scored 100 marks in mathematics, like for me 0 marks in mathematics and 100 marks for English probably will give. The advantage is it convey more information, it's more flexible. The finer distinctions are possible. Do not impose artificial boundaries. There are hybrid cases. No, mental illness are not as simple as categorical. There may be a category, within the category there may be a dimension. It's for communication and it must be useful for the clinicians. So the diagnosis must be reliable. I making a diagnosis at Kudiravatam, the person sitting in Mayo Clinic should also make a similar diagnosis. I should measure what I intend to measure. I suppose I measure love by asking Harris to stand on a weighing machine. Reliability between myself and the person Mayo Clinic will be extremely good. But I am not measuring what I intend to measure. I should measure what I intend to measure. This is called validity. It must be clinically useful. There may be, as James was telling, the micro neurology and all these, put it in equations, probably make no clinical sense. It must be having certain clinical utility. Classifications in psychiatry are like classifying clouds by their shape. We classify and after some time they merge, then they dissociate. Oh, funny. That is what DSM all through this time has made. We have now gone back to addiction. Clouds has fuzzy boundaries, they tend to merge imperceptibly, drift, being carried by invisible air currents. Observation, measurement of their movement to an extent predict weather, yet the inner physical and chemical structure of the clouds are hidden to the naked eye. So what happens? There will be a lot of overlap, like clouds. Both are atheoretical. Vidhu Kumar was telling, there is no theory. It's a cluster of symptoms and signs. Let us imagine a hypothetical situation where the person has polyuria. So a symptom based classification tells the polyuria is mild when it is between 2 and 2.5 liters, arbitrary classification. Moderate from 2.51 to 3.5 and severe polyuria 3.51 and above. with specifiers, with or without weight loss, with or without insomnia, with or without anxiety. It looks funny, no? After 25 years, your diagnosis of DSM-5 and ICD-11 will look more funnier. So polyuria, etiological classification must be an endocrine, like diabetes mellitus, diabetes insipidus, chronic renal failure, diuretics, hypercalcemia, psychological like hysterical polydipsia. Go back, if you make like specifiers, things will be, it might look very funny. So the problem of current classification is defined by cluster of signs and symptoms based on conversation or psychiatric diagnosis. Difficult to map to genes, particular brain circuits or basic behavior mechanisms. So the diagnostic category is based on clinical consensus over conversation. They fail to align with data emerging from clinical genes, particular brain circuits or basic behavior mechanisms. It's a challenge. The disease has a characteristic clinical manifestation, characteristic pathology, underlying causes, reduced biological fitness, for example, diabetes. In psychiatry, we are still struggling with the nosological status of the brain and mind disorders. So it's the classification is for meeting the pragmatic needs related to diagnosing and treating patients. Well, we will move on to that stage, but always classification is a process of ongoing experimentation with the practical pragmatic rules and aims for treatment of the disorder takes up. So diagnosis should have a validity. Robinson Goose, postgraduate, should read the classic article which came in 1970, I believe the January issue of American Journal of Psychiatry. It still holds. The clinical description, laboratory studies, you should delimit from other disorders. The disorder should be followed up and there must be family studies. For example, in bipolar, there must be a clinical description, laboratory studies. It should be distinguished from schizophrenia and schizoaffective. That needs to be followed up to know the nature of the cyclical nature and the family history. The follow-up become the need of the hour. Like a post-mortem to the physician. Kendler came with so many validators. You know her, Nancy Andreasen. She said additional validators include a molecular genetics, neurochemistry, neuroanatomy, neurophysiology, cognitive neurosciences. And DSM-5 heavily depend on reliability. Like I measure the love of Harish by asking him to stand on a weighing machine. Reliability was good, but it's at the cost of, and even any diagnosis in DSM-5 carries a threat on the validity. And most important is the clinical utility. ICD-11 is based on this principle. It implies etiology, predicts their course and prognosis, determines the treatment, efficient means for communication, tries to define a homogeneous group of patients, can be used by majority, and it must be user friendly. These are the clinical utility on which ICD-11 was made. All the categories have not a arbitrary threshold. Ideally, the categories must be mutually exclusive. I must be different from Kunjikoya-Musa. If we share both the things together, many characteristics, even the physical characteristic, it's difficult. He must be a different individual, I am a different. No, there must be mutually exclusive. You all agree? No, physically, myself and Kunjikoya-Mu are different entities. Mutually exclusive and collectively must be exhaustive. So collectively we all belong to this CME, but we are all mutually exclusive. There must be a zone of rarity between different classes. When a table and a chair are compared, definitely they are different. But if you gradually modify the table and modify the chair, a stage may come when you cannot say for certain it's a table or a chair. Otherwise, what happens in DSM is high comorbidity. There is no zone of rarity. It addresses a global perspective on health and health-related issues. Needs to serve the clinical purpose. It must be used for epidemiological research, administrative purpose in the area of health, and implementation of health policies, not only for the clinician or postgraduate. It started from 1948, 1949 was the 6th revision, 7th was in 55, 8 65, 9 75, and 10 was 1994. No, almost 30 years. It started from May 2011 and 18th June 2018, ICD version for preparing implementation in member states including translations were released. On 25th May this year, it was endorsed at the 72nd World Health Assembly by members. Health Assembly means the health ministers of all the member countries. 192 member countries they endorsed. And from the 1st of January 2022, member states will begin to report health during the ICD 11, with ICD 11. It was asked for interview, PSC interview. The thing which is going to disturb your sleep. It is in the chapter 6 that deals with mental, behavioral or neurodevelopmental disorders. That's the title. It has 161 4-character alphanumeric character. Alphanumeric carrier. Ranges from 6A, 6 stands for the 6th chapter, which deals with the mental behavior and neurodevelopmental disorder. 6A00 to A, B, C, D and E. These are all artificial classification. Why? That improves the classification without losing what was gained. Maintain the basic purpose while increasing the diversity of stakeholders. The clinical utility, the core concept guiding the 11th edition was the clinical utility. So there is a standard format in ICD 11. One is there is a category name. Okay. Then there is a brief description. Like schizophrenia, there will be a short note containing 100 to 125 words as to a typical case of schizophrenia. This is what we use. Nobody goes and remember all the criteria. A summary statement. There is no criteria. Lucky. Postgraduates are lucky. There is no criteria. There are certain terms which include, well, this includes this and that. This does not include that. Okay, that much you are. There are essential features, like in schizophrenia, there must be positive symptoms like delusions, hallucinations, disorganized thought or disturbances in the control of it. The boundary with normality, that has, the grief has to be separated from a normal bereavement, and a pathological grief must be separated. It must be separated from depression, boundary with other abnormalities. And there are qualifiers whose features associated clinical presentation, gender and this is what constitutes an ICD-11. So no criteria. Clinically significant disturbance in cognition, emotional regulation or behavior that reflect a dysfunction in the psychological, biological or developmental process that underlie the mental and behavior function. That's how ICD-11 defines a mental disorder. Some conditions are excluded. Acute stress reaction is very difficult to distinguish from a normal reaction when the stress is more. The boundaries are not clear, the zones of rarity are not existing, uncomplicated bereavement. Coded elsewhere, there was a distinction between organic and functional in ICD-10. Now we know it is a very arbitrary thing, making mental disorders non-organic a field. That's why sleep-wake disorders, sexual dysfunction, gender incongruence. It's not dysphoria, it is incongruence. So the list of blocks don't worry. There are 4 characteristics. 6 means 6th chapter, meaning it deals with mental, behavior or neurodevelopmental disorder. A is the block and 2 stands for schizophrenia. First episode. Active symptoms. Okay, clear. Likewise, all the disorders have been listed. 6A20 stands for schizophrenia, 214 something else, 24 schizoaffective, so many things. 0 stands for specifiers. So it's a lifespan approach. First thing is a neurodevelopmental disorders. It's a disorders of the intellectual development. Mental retardation has been taken out. Significantly below the average intellectual function, adaptive behavior, 2 or more standard deviation below the mean. Oh, it's very difficult. You do not know what is a standard deviation. Vidhu Kumar may be knowing. So that must be understood by a normed, standardized, individually administered test, in the absence of which there are behavior indicators with which a primary care physician also can make a diagnosis. Autism spectrum disorder. There was a difference from ICD. Deficit in social interaction, communication and a restricted repetitive pattern of behavior. This one is more important. The MR or intellectual functioning and the language. Language has been taken away. This is added as a specifier which tells the autism spectrum with the social and behavior plus or minus mental retardation or intellectual disability or the language disturbances. Maybe for Varsha. The neurodevelopmental disorder now includes ADHD. Our bread and butter in a mental hospital. Schizophrenia, the duration is 1 month. There is 112 words description of what is schizophrenia. There are core symptoms. What are the core symptoms? Positive symptoms like delusions, persistent delusion, persistent hallucination, disorganized thinking, manifested in disorganized speech, or disturbance in passivity or control. These are the core symptoms. First rank symptoms are de-emphasized. The schizotypal disorder has now moved because of the association with the DSM-5, it has moved into a disorder. So if you have schizophrenia, no, what is it? Subclassification. There are a dimensional approach if there is schizophrenia. It can be rated also if you are a researcher. They include positive symptoms, negative symptoms, depressive and manic symptoms. Even when there is an independent depressive disorder, you put it as psychomotor symptoms and cognitive symptoms. These are different, the hybrid approach. The category is schizophrenia, no criteria, description, any person can make a diagnosis, but if you are a mental health expert, put it in 6 dimensions and rating scales are available. An independent diagnosis entity of catatonia, bipolar or related, it's or related, I don't know why, it's in DSM, it's and. Mood episodes are not independently diagnosable entities and hence do not have their own diagnostic code. We used to say manic episode in ICD-10. No, these episodes are made for, like bricks, made for making Taj Mahal or Kudirevattam. Bipolar 1, bipolar 2 and cyclothymic. Cyclothymic is not, it comes under a bipolar. Depressive disorder includes single episode, recurrent depressive disorder, dysthymic disorder. Dysthymia is not a separate disorder. Mixed depressive and anxiety disorder. It's not anxiety, they consider it a more linked to a depressive disorder. Interesting thing is, mild, moderate, severe, moderate and severe can present with or without psychotic features. Anxiety or fear related disorder. We know in neuroanatomy, the functional neuroanatomy says it's a fear related disorders, and the disorder must be specified according to the foci of apprehension. What is he afraid of? I am afraid of a social situation like taking a class. I was talking to Sadashivan, should I run? Because I cannot face all these crowd. And it was with his insistence that I am standing here facing you all people. Thanks to Sadashivan. It's a generalized anxiety disorder. It's not a disorder by exclusion. There is a foci. Panic disorder, agoraphobia, specific phobia, social anxiety disorder, separation anxiety disorder. It's a life. It has taken out from the childhood disorder. See, agoraphobia is a separation anxiety disorder. It's a selective mutism, has now can be applied in a person like me at the age 70. Okay. Obsessive compulsive or related, it was there in anxiety disorders, now they were taken out because there is a cortico-striato-thalamo-cortical circuit, it becomes hyperactive and the thought, urges or images keeps on coming like an obsession, and the person is worried, spends a lot of time. It will be analyzed by the prefrontal cortex for the information processing. Many of the time I feel it is ego-syntonic, I should go and seek help from Kunyakaya Musar, and he has an insight. Sometimes gradually it affects, the diabetes affecting the kidney, it affects the information processing system, and gradually the insight weakens and finally it ends in a delusion. See, it's not a delusional disorder, it is a obsessive compulsive disorder with a specifier of poor or absent insight. So that tells the normal development of this disorder. It can also affect the dorsal striatum, resulting in tics. So another specifier is with or without tics. So OCD with or without insight, with or without tics, make you a clear picture of what OCD is. It is not an anxiety disorder, as the fear related circuitry is not affected. A body focused repetitive behavior disorders, which includes trichotillomania and association disorder. Associated with stress, that is the only condition in which the etiology is made. We said it is atheoretical, but there is an etiology of stress. Two most important thing is a complex PTSD. Here it is a severe PTSD with you know what is PTSD, re-experiencing, avoiding and hyperarousal. These are the three things quoted in ICD-11. Apart from that, there is a mood control disturbances, interpersonal, difficult to make an interpersonal relatedness, and one more. And a prolonged grief disorder, we believe you can distinguish, it's a valid thing, you can distinguish it from the normal grief, you can distinguish it from the depressive disorder. That's what they believe. It lasts for more than 6 months and certain characteristics are also there. Dissociative disorder include dissociative neurological symptom disorder. 12 subtypes are there. That includes a cognitive domain. Dissociative amnesia, trance disorder, possession trance disorder, dissociative identity disorder, partial dissociative identity disorder. That's a special thing. Partial dissociative identity disorder എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇപ്പോൾ മാർവയ്ക്ക് അമ്മാവിയമ്മയെ ഇഷ്ടമല്ല എന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ ദേഷ്യം വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ഞാനൊരു ഭദ്രകാളിയായിട്ട് അമ്മാവിയമ്മയെ 2 വഴക്കും. That time my executive control is ഭദ്രകാളി or some jinn. പക്ഷേ that's a total control, that's a dissociative disorder. In partial dissociation she will be Marva, but the thing is either in affect, cognition, motor behavior or identity, sometimes partial things may take place, but she still knows it is Marva. Excuse me for referring you in person. That's what happens in majority of the cases reported from low income countries. Disorders of bodily distress or bodily experience replaces a somatoform disorder, like in somatic symptom disorder in DSM. Bodily symptoms that are distressing to the individual, this is not a medically unexplained. We have to make a conceptual distinction. It's not medically unexplained. One time myasthenia gravis, diabetes mellitus, so many things were medically unexplained. That tells publicly your ignorance. More than that, what focuses is the behavior. What is that I excessively worry, gets preoccupied with this somatic symptom. My cognition, it generates a sort of anxiety, and I don't know, I think it is a cancer, I think my cognition is altered. My behavior, I go and seek 101 MRI. James was telling about 1 MRI, these people will go and get 15 MRI done. So it's a constellation of affective, cognitive and behavior symptoms, which is clearly in excess of what is anticipated by normal, distinguishes this type. It can occur even when a person has a low backache. A person with a low backache can also have a bodily distress disorder if it is clearly excess. And the most funny thing, I have not experienced it for the last 30-35 years, is the body integrative dysphoria. What happens to this particular condition, I don't think anyone will, if the person is uncomfortable with a structurally normal body. I want to get paralyzed, I think about getting paralyzed, I fantasize, I mimic, I will put my hand on ice and keep it paralyzed. Sometimes I will get it amputated as well. The person feels extremely uncomfortable. They won't get married because if I marry, I cannot continue all these things. I have so far not come, but ICD people tell this is a recognizable thing, especially from the low income country. A single episode of harmful use, substance use disorders, harmful use and dependence, and substance induced disorders. So a single episode of harmful substance use, suppose I drive, met with an accident, that is a harmful thing for me, not only for me but for the other person also. It's an early identification of a yet to develop disorder. Like people use helmet. This is a helmet as far as the category diagnosis is considered. Maybe continuous or episodic. If it is episodic, it must be within 12 months. If it is continuous, it must be within 1 month. So many things to make your life all the more difficult. Other addictive behavior, the term addiction has come back. It's a gambling disorder and a gaming disorder. They cannot control the impulse. Pyromania, kleptomania, and compulsive sexual behavior disorder, and intermittent explosive disorder. These are new things. That explains. The conduct disorder, the oppositional deviant disorder has been put under this thing. Putting in. Personality disorder, problems in the functioning aspect of the self and interpersonal dysfunction. So any amount of what James Joyce was telling, the sub-neurological scanning and all those things will eliminate psychiatry. It will not. Studying of a neuron will not eliminate neurology. It's a functional connectivity. Like a neuron getting connected with 1,000 millions of neurons, we as an individual get connected with Vidhu Kumar, Harish, Kunyukaya Musar, my girlfriend, my wife, my child, the rape victim, the Pakistan Prime Minister, Donald Trump. We, like neurons getting connected, we are connected. It is the interpersonal thing that matters. It is not mere changes in my neuron, which is behavior, which is devoid of meaning. So neurology might die, neuroscience might die, but psychiatry, I believe, will survive. So that is what is in, there is only 100 to 100 words. What is a personality disorder? Any person sitting in a primary care center can make a diagnosis of a personality disorder, because there are 10 categories, roughly 79 criteria. How many of you know all the criteria? We make only 2 diagnoses, antisocial and borderline. Bas. And all these carry mix of all those things. So he is borderline, he has a cluster B, histrionic, he is anxious avoidant, and you make all those things. So it's very difficult, intimidating for any person, even psychiatrist, to make an attempt to make a diagnosis of personality disorders, which is bound to be comorbid. So what ICD people, as a pragmatic clinical utility, you make a diagnosis of personality disorder. If a person causes you headache, first thing, the person has a personality disorder. Tell them. Is it a mild headache, moderate headache, or a severe headache? That's what ICD tells. We classify as a personality disorder, make it mild, moderate, or severe. Thus, you made a diagnosis, because that has a serious implication for treatment. The doctor-patient relationship, the litigation. Patient may be non-compliant. Patient may sue you. Patient may so these are all personality disorders. Put it as mild, moderate, or severe, which any person can do. So the diagnosis of identification of the personality disorder, because WHO is a whole world, mild, moderate, and severe, that ends, and refer to a mental health specialist who has a dimensional thing. like negative affectivity, detachment, dissociality, disinhibition, anancastia, and borderline. Whether in the final thing it will come as a pattern, I don't know. There is a personality difficulty, meaning if the person doesn't come into, cannot be classified into all those things, we put it as a personality difficulty, which is very important. Well, for example, a transplantation, personality difficulty counts. No separate codes for fetishism, transvestism and masochism. Why? Because it's a private affair. It doesn't cause any damage to any other person. I personally have so a Maoist philosophy, I may have. Unless and until I carry it out, nothing wrong. So, to the it is detrimental to others, whereas fetishism, transvestism and masochism. Neurocognitive disorders are delirium, mild neurocognitive disorder and amnestic disorder. Impairment in two or more cognitive domain, whereas in DSM-5 is it's only single. Includes memory, executive function, attention, language, social judgment, psychomotor speed, visuospatial ability. It's a neocortical disease. Different association cortices are affected, and that result in all these things. And the behavior and psychological disturbance in dementia. First time in pregnancy, childbirth and puerperium, we are telling about all the postpartum cases, but this is for the first time that it has appeared. But if it qualifies for a mania, make a diagnosis of mania and put this thing as an additional specifier. This is considered as the most controversial in ICD-11, because we know that schizophrenia, mood disorder, anxiety disorders are all as brain disease as a stroke. It's more complex. The complexity will not make it a neurological. So, what we have gained over all this time is to put all these things, psychotic disorder, it can be schizophrenia, it can be schizoaffective, it can be delusional, it can be induced by ganja, it can be due to the withdrawal of cocaine, it can be due to a brain tumor. We consider it as a psychosis, as a equally brain disease contributed by brain tumor, withdrawal from medications as well as schizophrenia. If all those things are ruled out, it is schizophrenia. That gives us an impression that schizophrenia is a neurological disorder. As neurological, probably more complex, but ICD has gone a step back. They say it is due to another medical, it is a secondary mental or behavior syndrome. It is secondary, as if all these things are non-existent. The cluster, so we have to code. Suppose a person with schizophrenia comes, a person with bronchial CA lung has developed schizophrenia. Okay. Or a person with schizophrenia has developed a bronchogenic carcinoma. Let us see how it is coded. 6S20.00 schizophrenia, first episode, current episode is symptomatic. Primary psychotic disorder, depressive symptoms in primary psychosis. I said there are 6 dimensions for primary psychosis, and one of the dimensions is depression. That fulfills our diagnosis. Diagnosis code is 6A20.00/6A25/6A25.2. It's all computer generated, easy. You need not have to remember all those things. But the patient has a malignant neoplasm of the bronchus that has got its own code. That's on the right side. Bronchus and lung. Adenocarcinoma malignant. It's correct. So they will give prompt. They will prompt you. right among all these things. Scroll down, menu will appear and things are easy. Getting too hot. You can take if the postgraduates want. Advantage of ICD 11 is it is scientifically updated, improved usability, more clinical details with less training. Even a primary care physician should make a diagnosis. That's our aim. Not with all these. Enable coding of all clinical details. E-health friendly. Easily harmonizable with SNOMED or DSM-5. Full multilingual support, translation and output. So, is there any criticism? The blue and the green book. No green. We all expected. No politics, no? Based on brief description and diagnostic guidelines as opposed to operational diagnostic criteria and DSM-5 and even ICD-10. Congruent with the spontaneous clinical process. What is a spontaneous clinical process? You have a typical diagnosis in your mind and the characteristic of the patient and the template you have in your mind will make a diagnosis. That is there in ICD-11. It has to take into consideration the human rights of the person with mental illness and the scientific discoveries we have then developed. The science of the 21st century is the neuroscience. There must be a mix of the human rights and the developments. Liability will be less, of course. You do not know about the validity. Even with the strictest criteria, with 79 criteria for the personality disorder, the validity is questionable. Down to the clinical description, is it a retrograde classification? But the clinical utility is good. But WHO has got different goals. It is not for research. WHO has not done any research. Global perspective, there is a treatment gap for the third world countries. There is a research gap. We want to know more. Need for other professionals and non-professionals to make diagnosis, understand this personality disorder, incorporate in their clinical practice. Violence, aggression and discrimination and even the rape needs to be addressed. The problems with the immigrants, the marginalization, discrimination, mental health of vulnerable population like women, children and disabled needs to be, are the priorities of WHO. It's not the research. It is highly harmonizable with the DSM-5 and SNOMED CT. You probably in e-health people you know. The SNOMED CT is a system used all over the world for easy coding of the illness. It's very easily harmonizable with, well, future lies there with a lot of challenges. Psychiatry is a specialty of challenges. Let us see how best we can, from the binomial classification of to this present taxonomy in botany, we have moved a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anil Prabhakar. Thank you, Dr. Anil Prabhakar, for giving us a feast before lunch of ICD. As he has an uncanny knack of presenting difficult things very simply, and usually whenever a classificatory system is introduced, it is Dr. Anil Prabhakar's privilege to introduce it as it was the case of DSM. Even though he was a favorite of DSM, he has presented it in a very wonderful way. Now, I just want to ask you, do you think that the DSM and ICD gap, is it bridged by the ICD 11?
I didn't get you. I didn't get you what?
The gap between DSM and ICD. Is
In
it
fact, there is not much of a gap. The priorities are different. DSM is mainly used by the American Psychiatric Association, mainly for insurance, clinical and research purposes. But for WHO, the world is not a homogeneous place. We have Brazilians, we have people in Africa, we have people in third world countries where the problems, priorities are different. We don't have much trained personnel, mental health personnel to address those things. Their aim is to the gap, to fill the mental health gap, to fill the research gap. Ultimately, it must be delivered through the primary health center to the needy. So the priorities and principles are different, and many things they have probably joined hands with the DSM-5, but their priority is a clinical utility in the third world countries, and that too including the primary care physicians. So the priorities are different, probably in principle. Many of the people who have formed the part of the ICD work group, and if I tell about all the organization of all those things, it contains many people who are there in DSM-5 work group.
Now the session is open for discussion. The session is open for questions.
Sir,
Already sweating.
Sir, one question.
Already sweating, so be mild.
Sir, one question is this DSM, even in America, they are now saying that RDoc should be given, RDoc, research domain criteria, that should be given more weightage in research and all than DSM. So that is going to change the way research will be conducted, at least in the USA. So how do you see that getting harmonized with this ICD change?
Harish, RDoc is not a diagnostic system.
Yes, I agree.
RDoc is not a diagnostic system. It's by National Institute of Mental Health, very, what should one say, very an imaginative initiative, where throwing away all those diagnoses, they want to study from the brain intraneuronal to the social behavior, how we are coding all those things, and finally, problems might, it may lead on to many things, including a significant information on how to classify. And there, if you watch the developments, it's keep on developing. Ultimately, it will inform a clinical diagnosis, probably in DSM 6 or 7. We do not know. It will not replace, it will highly inform the way psychiatric diagnoses are classified.
One more question.
Go.
Say, there was a discussion in our groups in the last few weeks that one person told in our psychiatric groups that is in every medical specialty the treatment keeps changing, whereas psychiatry is the only specialty where disease itself keeps changing. So how do you respond to that?
That is why I said psychiatric diagnosis, it's a complex thing. Human behavior is the most complex thing. 1.5 kg gel, trying to understand the complex thing, the most complex, neuroscience of 21st century. So naturally, understanding all those things with the available evidences and tools bound to create all the problems. We will move inch by inch, making diagnosis, refining the diagnosis, taking elements from what the basic neuroscience has provided, we use mathematics, we use algorithms, we use statistics to refine those things, but that cannot be done in an overnight. ICD വരും എല്ലാം ശരിയാകും എന്ന് നമ്മൾ വിചാരിക്കുന്നെങ്കിൽ അത് നമ്മുടെ വിചാരത്തിൻ്റെ കുഴപ്പമാണ്, അല്ലാതെ ഈ കോംപ്ലക്സ് സയൻസിൻ്റെ പ്രശ്നമല്ല. മൈൽഡ് ഞാൻ വിയർക്കുക സോഫ്റ്റ്.
Sir, one of the major changes in ICD-11 is the brief description about the disease. And this is something like the prototypical matching which was introduced for personality disorders in DSM-5.
Precisely.
And probably that was
Abandoned.
later not abandoned because of the subjectivity. Will that problem again will not occur with ICD-11 and will
Exactly.
lead to a lot of subjectivity?
Exactly, that will be there. But their problem is not that. Their problem is the primary care, their clinical utility. That is why I said the guiding principle is the clinical utility. It must be diagnosed by a primary care physician. It must be diagnosed by a nephrologist. It must be diagnosed by a cardiologist. It must be diagnosed by a plastic surgeon, especially in third world countries. So the clinical description, we all go, even with all these criteria, for me, ഇവനെ നോക്കിയിട്ട് സ്കിസോഫ്രീനിയാണ് അല്ല, ക്രൈറ്റീരിയ ഒന്നും ആരും നോക്കത്തൊന്നുമില്ല. For a person who has more than 30 years of experience in psychiatry. So this principle will apply for all these things. Criteria, 79 criteria, Vidhukumaran, Vidhukumar is expert, but I don't know. So the clinical utility take the front seat, and that is why, well, as Vidhukumar said very, very correctly, DSM-5 initially introduced the prototype, and when I presented, it was a prototype thing. Then it changed. So many people, there was a voting, and finally they said we will go with this thing. But ICD people held on to that, and they said probably for a global perspective, the prototype will, it's not the prototype alone, they give a lot of other specifiers which will help as well as probably make the psychiatry into the mainstream and thereby reduce the gap. Treatment, research, administrative policies and all those things.
Any more questions? If there is no more question, we will conclude this session. We, myself and Dr. Vidhukumar, thank the organizers for inviting us to the chair. We will conclude the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sirs. Thank you, sir. I now invite Dr. Jitu, Assistant Professor. I also request you to present a memento to Dr. Ahmed Kuti. Thank you, sir. With that, we have come to the end of this